Hey, what's up guys? It's Pedro here from newcoder.com, and in this tutorial we're going to be going over pipes. Now what a pipe allows us to do is basically take a source stream, which is just a readable stream, and send it over to its destination, which is just a writable stream. So in the last tutorial we went over readable streams and writable streams, and basically what we did was create a read stream, and then from there we create a write stream. And then we attached an event listener to the read stream, and every time we got a data event emitted, we read a piece of the chunk from the read stream, and then we wrote out that chunk to where we wanted to send it. So there's actually a much more simpler way, and the much more simpler way is just to get rid of this. And all we're gonna do is say read stream dot pipe. Now pipe is going to take what read stream gives us and is going to pipe it into our write stream. So now if I was to bring up the terminal and just type node app and hit Control B, you can see we have our example text, and then we created our example2.txt. So the pipe method is basically a shorthand version for all of that stuff that we wrote in the last tutorial. So all we need to remember is, in order to use a pipe, we need two streams. We need a source stream, and we also need a destination stream. In our case, the read stream is our source. This is the file that we want to read in. Then we call the pipe method on the read stream. And then this is going to take the destination. Where do we want to send this data to? And that's to the write stream. So now I want to talk about pipe chaining. So let's give a more complicated example. And for that, I'm going to bring in another module. And I'm going to bring in const zlib. Now, zlib is a module that is for basically compressing files. So I'm just going to say require zlib. Now what we're going to do is create a transform stream. Now, what a transform stream is basically is what it does is it takes the input, so for example from our read stream, and then when it receives that data, it manipulates that data into something else. In this case, what it's going to do is compress the data. So I'm just going to create a transform stream. So I'm just going to say const gzip is equal to zlib.create gzip. I'll call that method. Now this is going to return our transform stream. And now within here, instead of saying read stream, what I can do is send that data that read stream is giving us, and I could pipe it into our gzip. Now what gzip is going to do is take the chunks of data that is reading at a time, and it's going to manipulate it and compress it basically. So you're going to get a compressed version of the read stream. And then from here, we're going to pipe it out to our destination, which is our write stream. So now if I was to run this, let's save it. Now I'm just going to hit Control B. And if we go here to example2.txt, you can see that we accidentally did not change the type, and that's my fault. So the type that we're creating, create write stream, should not be a txt file. It should be a .gz file, and that's the compression type. So I'm just going to save this, and let's run this application again. Now I'm going to hit Control B. And you can see that we get an example2.txt.gz file. Now if I click it, it's going to say that Visual Studio Code cannot open this. So I'm just going to right click it, reveal in Explorer. And you can see that it's a zipped file. It's basically a compressed file. And I'm going to double click it. And you can see that our example2.txt file is here, and with our text. So now let's give just one more example just to get the hang of it of chaining pipes and using a transform stream. So we saw what happens when we compress the file and then write it. So let's go in reverse. We're going to take our source, which is compressed, we're going to uncompress it, and then we're going to write it. So from here, let's just go back to Visual Studio Code. Let's go back to app.js, Control B. And instead of saying create gzip, what we want to do is create unzip. So I'm just going to go here and say create g unzip. And we're going to change this variable to unzip. And now this is going to be our transform stream. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it here. And now what happened? Well, read stream is changed, right? So now I want the compressed version of it. So let's go over here. We're going to get rid of the encoding type. The compressed file is called example2.txtgz. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste this in here. Now this input, this read stream, is going to be piped to g unzip, which is going to basically uncompress the file, and then it's going to send it off to our destination. So what do we want our destination to be called? And we could pretty much name this anything we want. So I'm just going to say uncompressed.txt. So now if I was to go ahead and save this, type node app, execute it, we hit Control B, and you can see that we have our uncompressed txt file. So if I click this, you can see our example text is here and that it is successfully uncompressed.